Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a podcast by Practical E-Commerce.
What's going on, Internet? Eric Van Olds here, back again with another amazing episode from E-Commerce Conversations. I got Dennis Hegstad here from LiveRecover. He's in the Beard Brand studio.
Live in the flesh, IRL.
We are, we can look at each other. We've got a little bit of a bourbon on the table as well. So I've already faltered in so many ways, but I am incredibly excited to have him here because this dude knows SMS, which is Simple Messaging System. Is that what it stands for?
I'm going to hope so, yeah.
If it doesn't, it's what it stands for now.
Yep, text messaging. We'll go with text messaging.
Text messaging. And apparently everyone's doing it.
A lot of people are doing it. I mean, it was popular, I think, in the late 90s when ringtones were cool, and then it became spam. And now in the last 2 to 3 years, it's been cool again.
What does LiveRecover do?
We do SMS or text message marketing, but specifically focused on recovering abandoned carts for e-commerce businesses on Shopify and WooCommerce and other platforms.
So how does it work to be so specific? Are you setting up just rules and flows and it's all automated, or is there any kind of mechanical Turk behind it?
So 2 different types of solutions. Us specifically, there are rules and conditions around how you provide an offer or a discount to somebody, but all the messages are sent by a real person. So it's technically not like a drip campaign. It's more or less like what we call a peer-to-peer texting solution. Yeah, but there are other solutions that do automation fully that wouldn't require any sort of human intervention.
Okay, let me get this clear. So you have a team of people who are sending out text messages?
Yes, exactly. Live texting agents, as we call them.
Really? No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? Are they all VAs?
Yeah, they're all based for the most part, they're all based in the Philippines and can type, at a certain amount of words per minute, and they speak English as a first language, and they've had some sort of experience to e-commerce in the past.
Are they studying up on the brands they're serving, or how are they handling? Are they handling multiple brands?
Yeah, they definitely handle multiple brands, but I think most of the questions are generalized. A customer abandons cart for a few reasons. It could be the price was an issue, maybe they forgot, or maybe they had a question about the product or shipping or policy or something along those lines. Could be all of the above. But most of the time, brands provide that information on their product page, on their homepage, or internally on the sort of LiveRecover shared, dashboard between our reps and their brand. And then I'm sure for, certain tools that are automated, they can probably ingest some of that information, but it might not be as accurate, which is our selling point.
Yeah. So how most text flows go, it's just going to be general information, hoping that you're hitting the right pain point.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a question over email, your expectation is if you have a brand and you respond to an email, you're going to, expect maybe a day or so to respond, maybe a couple hours. If it's less, that's impressive, right? With SMS, it's you need it now, right? If you don't tell me within minutes, I'm annoyed. Why did you text me? I'm going to go find the information somewhere else, or I'm going to buy it on Amazon. So I think you got to be pretty sensitive with when you're reminding someone of what they were doing, especially over text message.
Do you feel like most people are under the assumption that this message they got is an automated one? It's not a real person there replying to them?
Yeah, I think not everybody, but we personally, and I'm sure other solutions can see this too, we see a lot of people that will even joke with our agent and say, if you can prove that this is real, I'll buy. So and then we'll respond with a funny SpongeBob meme that says give me all your money or something like that.
Yeah.
And then oh my God, this is so cool that this is real. I thought this was a bot. You guys have great customer service, right? And I'm oh, cool. So that human touch, matters, right? And yeah, I feel this in my own business too, as a business owner, using an automated accounting service versus a bookkeeper who actually goes through and combs through everything and actually tells me, exactly what is and isn't. There's always room for, inaccuracies and discrepancies with its automated tool. So I don't know, the human touch really matters, I think. But people do probably assume that it's automated.
Yeah. And does this technique crush it, or do you still get a lot of people who are just so angry that they got a text message from a company?
I think people who are angry about text messages are still the same people who get angry about retargeting. right? There's always like 1 in 1,000 people who are going to be the ones yelling about like, why are you following me around the internet, right? It's like, well, it's 2020 and you opted in by providing your phone number, and they probably just forgot, right? So I would say most people are receptive to it, and the data shows the results work, but that's also a short-term thing, and the trends, we don't have the data for long-term, right? Who knows? I personally think that the life cycle of a customer is worth more on email than it is on SMS. But if you use SMS at the right time, it can be, like maybe the ROI is worth not ignoring at least, right? So SMS for now is definitely like here to stay.
So your agents send out 100 messages to abandoned carts. How many of those are getting converted to orders?
I think about 55% get replies. Total recovery rate is on average about 21% on our platform, which is really good. We see, people coming from an automated solution to a peer-to-peer live solutions, basically doubling or tripling their conversion rate. But that's not to say that automated solutions don't make sense. They do, just for like a different situation.
I would imagine they're a little more cost effective than.
Yeah, for sure, right? Like if you're going to send a text message to 100,000 people, like your welcome series blast, or it's your pre-Black Friday sale or whatever, that's something that you're definitely going to want to use an automated solution for. You don't need a human sending those out.
Yeah. So your agents, are they doing it like on demand then, or is it within a 24-hour period, or what's their metrics?
Yeah. So we have a time to first response of 3 minutes or less. So like every text gets responded to within 3 minutes, but we don't text 24 hours a day. There's obviously like what's called a quiet period in hours that you can and can't text. So no one's texting after 9 p.m. and before 8 a.m. per your respective sort of time zone, at least in the U.S. And I'm not 100% sure on all the legalities for other regions, but
yeah, that's like a communications law.
Yeah, what's called TCPA compliance. Yeah, those are just hours that you can't be texting commercially.
Oh man, that's so weird. Like if you're ordering at 12 o'clock and you're texting right then, you're clearly awake. But I guess what if they put their mom's phone number in or whatever?
Or like, the same way you don't get calls for like your insurance at like 2 a.m. Otherwise, they could just justify that anyone can call you whenever because they see you're online. So I'm going to call you right now. Yeah. You just logged into your insurance account. I'm going to call you right now.
Well, that's the whole like Jake from State Farm is like calling them at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I don't want that personally.
Well, clients are calling them, which is nice that if you can reach live people at any time. Can people text in to your service at all to get an agent, or is it just purely abandoned carts?
Yeah, right now it's just abandoned checkout recovery. And I say checkout recovery because we collect the phone number at the checkout, not pre-checkout, like in the cart.
Mm-hmm.
In the cart is when you're just adding, your contents of your cart, quantity, retail value, whatever. And so for now, it's just abandoned checkout recovery, but we are adding a sort of live agent support. So you could have a widget that says like, hey, if you have a question about this order, text in and our agents will support you. But that requires us obviously getting a little more integrated with the stores on a customer service level, because if they're asking things live, we can't miss and not have answers on hand, right? If we don't have the answers, we need to be able to get them right away from someone on that brand that we're supporting, or else it's kind of useless.
Yeah, we did a little bit of that. We did for like a blog, we would have our live chat box, and it would just be really a bunch of people overseas who weren't in our primary market asking for, beard grooming questions, which we're happy to help.
You still do it?
No.
It wasn't worth it?
So we killed our live chat altogether. The big reason was those widgets are the most intense resource hogs of any kind of widget that we installed. Like they just add so much time to your loading page.
Maybe there's some way to not have necessarily it be a widget, but just a place that you have the phone number.
Well, that's what we did. So instead, we put a banner that says text style to this phone number. We have an in-house community manager who will respond to the text and reply to that.
That works better.
Yeah, and we do it because we'll get like photographs. I believe we're using Emotive, which allows our customers and our prospects, our audience, to send in photographs, which I think is a pretty unique solution. Where do you see like SMS going in the future?
I think right now we're in this like wild, wild west, which is fun and exciting, but like everyone's rushing to do SMS, and whether that's abandoned cart recovery or creating an SMS list or winning back a customer. I'm sure for you guys at Beard Brand, you guys have customers that reorder things on a regular basis, right? So if someone bought a product that has I don't know the exact term. I know there is a term for like shelf life, basically how long a bottle or a tube lasts. But for like that, say it's 45 days to replenish, right, through text, right? There's all these ways that you can use it. But I think that we're not taking into consideration like how proven email is, right? I know that for me, I've subscribed to Wayfair's email for like 10 years, right? I buy something probably every quarter, and I don't know. They email me probably 5 times a week, literally once a day during the weekday. Sometimes it's probably 3 days. And that frequency doesn't somehow turn me off for like 10 years. But if SMS, like any brand over SMS, I don't care if it's like my favorite brand, there's no way you're texting me like 3 times a week or a month even. At that point, I'm just going to get annoyed, right? So I think that we've seen a lot of people jump into SMS, but like we don't know what the LTV is going to be, what the duration of a customer subscription is on email versus SMS. And so I'm worried that like it may have hurt some brands in the long term if they had just stuck to email. But right, I build an SMS, so I want SMS to grow. But just like from a bird's eye view, I think SMS is great now, but I think it's going to become less commercial and more concierge and more real time and like personalized support, opposed to just being a transactional machine that just like reminds you to buy stuff all the time, right? I don't think customers really want that. They want to have questions answered. They want to engage with the community if there is a way. But not all brands have a cool CEO that want to send memes and videos and talk on camera. And not all customers just want a picture of a product with basically a product description texted to them in a way that's a little more visual. That doesn't really provide a lot of value. So I think you have to be a little sensitive about how you're using SMS for the long term.
Yeah, that's been my biggest red flag with the platform. I just had this conversation with our email provider, Klaviyo, and they've got an SMS tool, and they were kind of asking me about it. And I said, we're okay being like a laggard on the platform because we don't want to burn that bridge for a lot of people who, are maybe a little more sensitive to receiving marketing messages. So if we do it, we really want to do it in a way that our customers know that it's happening, like they double opt in, or it's very clear that they'll be receiving messages via text, or it's done in a way that isn't maybe even marketing focused. It's just more of consultation and value add, something like that.
For sure. There's also some brands you expect it from, right? Like if you look at, and this isn't to say anything about Fashion Nova, but they're a very discount centric brand. I think they probably always have like 40-50% off in their homepage at the top of the website as a fixed little, navigation bar or whatever. And they're probably sending out just commercial emails every day, but they probably still have a very profitable list and it's growing. And so it's like, why would you stop? But eventually, like maybe we don't know the repercussions of doing that in comparison to a brand like say beer brand that's going to maybe nurture their list a little more, only send updates when there's like a post from you or your team and the company. And then it's not really like sales focused. It's more like announcement focused, and it's used like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holidays are coming up. We have like how many opportunities to do marketing. If you do SMS, there's probably like maybe 5 or 6 times that you should be sending an SMS this whole holiday season. That's it. If you're doing more than that, you're probably doing way too much, right? And people are like, oh, like I just got to get a list going. I got to start sending messages. It's like, you got to maybe slow down. Think about your customer a little bit. Like you might piss them off. There might not be a customer yet.
We kind of fall into especially the email marketing, that 80-20 rule, or really even a 90-20 rule. It's just like try to provide as much value as possible, education, entertainment, with 90% of our content. And then 10% is that promotional. We don't really do deals, but we'll have like a new product or a new kit or, just something that's a little more incentive oriented.
So you don't do any abandoned cart or like welcome series?
Yeah, we do all that stuff too.
Okay.
So we do have like flows. I guess I'm just speaking from like a campaign perspective when
Got it.
We send out a ton of emails.
But for SMS, I'm speaking of.
For SMS, we don't do, all we do is that one like consultation.
Got it. So no SMS abandoned carts, no SMS like outbound promotions for, hey, go buy this beard brand oil because it's the best.
We're going to test it. We've got a new product launch next week. So we were talking about doing a campaign for letting people know about.
Do you think you would link straight to the product page, or would you link to like a YouTube video that's more instructional and then let the customers decide if they're going to buy from there so it doesn't?
I would probably go straight to the product page, especially mobile. I don't want to make it too hard for people because if they go to a YouTube page, they may not know how to click over to the product page, or the link may be kind of disguised. And
fair enough, yeah.
So ideally, you have a product page that has all that information on it, and they can make that decisions. You guys aren't dipping your toes into that at all, huh?
No. In the comparison of us being like a steak knife and other people being a Swiss Army knife, we're the steak knife. We just want to be the best at doing this abandoned checkout recovery, whereas other tools like Attentive and Postscript, and the one that you mentioned, Emotive. Yeah. Emotive, there's other tool, SMS Bump that got acquired by Yapo, the review app maybe a year ago or 8 months ago. And then you said Klaviyo has SMS. So a lot of people are in the space, right? So I think we try to differentiate a little bit by hopefully being something that could be looked at as complementary to that, like where you already use those other platforms to fill the gap for everything, and then we're just the better solution for this one specific thing.
Yeah. Now, how do phone numbers work? Can I pick a phone number? Can I tie in like two different services with the same phone number, or?
You wouldn't be able to tie in and use the same phone number across two services per se, but there's two different types of phone numbers. One's called a short code, which is essentially like a 30303, which is a commercial phone number. You can send, I think, I'm not exactly sure what's called the rate limits, but you can send tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of texts per minute. Whereas with what's called a long code, which is like a more standard phone number that your friends or family or you would have for your phone number, they can only send, hundreds of texts per minute until they get basically, like flagged by a carrier, and they have to like have a cooldown period and you can't use the number and so on and so forth. So for LiveRecover, you don't pick your phone number if you're a customer. We do all that for you, but you do get a number that's used in relation to where the customer is to be more like local. So like if you live in Texas and you abandon cart, you'll be getting a text from a Texas number. If you lived in Florida, you'd be getting a text from a Florida number. One brand doesn't have a dedicated number.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of rotated out in a big pool amongst all of our brands.
So you notice like a better open rate?
Yeah, much better reply rate by being like a local number because people recognize it more.
Yeah. I noticed that with like my spam phone calls too. I still have a Charlotte phone number, and I just get spam calls from Charlotte and South Carolina all the time.
Yep, it happens. I've been getting diet spam on my phone.
Yeah.
Like, hey, buy these diet pills. I'm like, what? How'd you get my number? That's just, it's like I work in the space. How'd you get my number?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to? Like politicians are doing this too, though. And that's kind of the space that we're in, which is peer-to-peer texting. But obviously diet spam is not something that I put my phone number in a website for to get. So like that's someone who's soliciting it and doing it in a legal way or a non-compliant way, should I say.
Yeah. The weirdest thing that ever happened to me was I was at a coffee shop talking to a friend of mine about this idea of writing a book. And like within 15 minutes, I got a text message telling me about a book writing service. And I've never I hadn't searched for it at all. Like it was like Google and Facebook, all that. And they're a lot smarter than me. And I know like the marketer is not like, oh, I want to shadily market, because like Beard Brand will show up like that. I was at a conference and people were talking about Beard Brand, and the guy comes around and he hadn't searched for Beard Brand, and then he showed me the Beard Brand ad. And it's not like I checked a box where I'm like, yeah, anyone who's talking about Beard Brand, show them an ad.
They're listening.
Well, so it may not necessarily be listening, but it could be maybe I talked about it. I'm on the Wi-Fi. Someone else on the Wi-Fi heard it and they search. And then like Google knows that from this IP address.
Right, but how do they get the number? Like where are they pulling the phone number from? Directory,
well,
public, yellow pages maybe?
That's where it just freaked me out, man.
I guess there's a lot of public places that are. I guess you're a business owner too. Your phone number could be on the lease or the mortgage or whatever here.
Yeah.
That could be on a receipt, on a tax bill.
Well, the problem is when you're a small company, you use your phone number everywhere because that's all you got, right? And you're like doing $10 a month in sales, and you never plan on being this mega corporation. Then all of a sudden you become a multi-million-dollar company, and the things you started with your
phone number is still on there.
Or even if it's not still on there, but you've moved on to something else,
right.
It's like the internet never forgets. So you almost have to get like a new phone number. But I'm always concerned with getting a new phone number and getting some like delinquent, derelict, deadbeat who had that number before me.
It's possible.
So like, you know what the golden ticket for phone numbers are? Just like virgin phone numbers. Like, do they exist?
I don't know. I know we can issue phone numbers on the fly, like when we need it, like if we scale up or a phone number gets flagged by a carrier as like spam or not a good phone number that have like a poor delivery rate. With Twilio, which is the provider that we use to do text messaging, is I could get 1,000 phone numbers in 10 minutes or whatever if I wanted to. They just have a certain cost per month. So I'm not sure if they're new or recycled or how deep you can go, but you can pick the states and the areas. So yeah. I'm sure at some point there has to be new ones, right? As like just more and more people growing in the United States that get phones. So there's only so many numbers though too. So like right. I don't know what the math is. How many numbers? 9 digits?
Well, it's 9 digits, but the area codes.
Yeah.
So how many area codes are there?
7 digits and then 2 and then 3 for the area code. So it's like 10 total variations. I don't know.
Yeah. But there's only like 500 area codes or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm not
There's
sure.
not a full 999.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm sure we could Google it.
Yeah, I don't think we've run into issues yet where we've had like customers or any of us getting bad numbers from somebody else though. But we have had people where this is weird. I don't know if it's a customer who was spamming us or not, but we were doing the political donations for Andrew Yang over text message. We were recovering donations over text with LiveRecover, and some customers were sending us, and I don't know if this was because we had text them or if we had like you said, like we didn't have a virgin number, but we were getting people who were sending us like the whole dialogue of like Pulp Fiction over text, which costs us like a ton of money to receive all these text messages. It was like, I don't know, tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000 text messages. And you can't stop it. You can't block a phone number from texting you with Twilio unless it's considered like they did it at a rate where it was like let in. So we had to explain to them. I think they may have credited us, but it was probably like a $1,500 conversation.
I would imagine that's the risk, right? You text someone who knows how to get revenge.
Right. Revenge text.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's very maliciously desired, right? He's just like, all right, well, I'm just going to text these people.
Yeah.
Set up a script.
Yeah.
It's probably got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, no, for sure. Twilio can block them, but it's like you have to contact their dev team. And by that time, it's like how much damage has been done, right? So, but yeah, there is ways to block it. It's just that you on like the developers end can't just say block all text from this number immediately. You have to like go through a process.
Yeah. So they start doing that at, 5 p.m. on Friday and rack up all those text messages.
Yeah. Text message bills. And then our reps are confused. They're like, what the hell do we do? Half the inbox is just flooded with nonsense.
Oh man, that's stuff that
Don't get
I've never
ideas.
even thought about too.
Yeah, we'll find
like
you.
The marketers getting marketed. What else do you see? You're also another a Twitter user. You're pretty active on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely been on Twitter since 2009, I think. Shout out Twitter.
Have you been on any other platforms? Or I guess how are you building your company? How are you growing?
Honestly, I'm not a big LinkedIn guy. I know LinkedIn's cool if you're in sales or something, but every time I log in, I just log in every quarter to know why I don't log in.
Yeah.
Right? To see every automated message about why we should connect. And I'm like, okay, every one of these looks templated and automated to the same point of why a human message always is usually better. But yeah, Twitter's pretty much where I spend all my time. I think I follow people for the right reasons on Twitter. It's what you have to say and what your thoughts are. Instagram, I just like to follow things that I like to look at, which might be cars and vacation places and attractive women and whatever else.
Infrared saunas.
Yeah, infrared saunas, whatever. and so Instagram is cool for how social networking, I guess. And Twitter is more for me, professional.
It's funny. I feel or at least in my use case, Twitter used to be how LinkedIn is now. It used to just be retweet bots, scripts, follow, unfollow. It was just kind of this, everyone's on the mountaintop shouting as loud and no one was having a conversation.
I definitely was guilty of using those bots to follow and unfollow people.
Everyone did. That's what you did on Twitter back in the day.
Yeah, maybe I was also maybe a little more manipulative then about how I wanted to grow my audience. Now I don't really care that much. I don't ever think about, am I going to lose or gain followers? Or before I used to schedule my tweets on every 2 hour basis from 6 a.m. until midnight with motivational quotes blended in every other tweet with a promotional or whatever, just because I knew it would help me gain followers. And I'm like, yeah. And I used to care about how many people I followed, right? My ratio.
Right.
Now I'm like, no, I don't care. I'm going to follow 4,000 people and I'm not going to look at it. It doesn't matter to me.
It's
but weird. I say that and I know the exact amount. So I guess I'm not past it yet.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because I don't know, Twitter, I don't really know what my follower count is or how much I'm following. The way the platform's designed, it seems to be a little more I don't know, a horse blinder for me. And maybe it's just because I've been using it more and just engaging a little more and getting a little more interacted on the community. But have you been able to develop any kind of relationships and business from Twitter?
Yeah, we're here. We're talking. We met on Twitter, I think.
Well, we met at Web.
Oh,
Web.
Yeah. Well, that was through Twitter for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Web from 2 p.m., that dinner. And then my friend Justine cuts hair at your barbershop, which, shout out. I got my haircut here too, drinking bourbon here. But no, I met a lot of people over Twitter. Even I would say got a lot of business through Twitter, even learning from VCs and just other bootstrap founders on kind of why it's okay to not necessarily have to raise VC money and you can do things this way. And yeah, I would say Twitter's been the most valuable tool out of any for me from a personal and business perspective.
I don't want to speak for all entrepreneurs or business people who are on Twitter, but I feel like it is one of the most accessible platforms. So many interesting people will reply to your tweets or an engaging conversation.
Right. You just jump right in. It's not there's no barrier. You just find a cool conversation that's relative to what you like or your business or both, hopefully. And You just respond, and if you have something insightful and thoughtful, people might just gravitate towards that because you said something that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, and hopefully it's smart and it's true and everything else. But it's that easy.
Yeah. I got ratioed.
What? You got ratioed?
I got ratioed a couple weeks ago.
What does that mean?
Ratio is when you get more comments or replies than you get likes.
Oh.
So it's when you say something kind of asinine.
Is that a good thing?
No, it's a bad thing. Like ratioed on Twitter.
There's more quote comments than there are like likes or something. So
Yeah,
people are complaining about what you said, not liking it. Oh, I mean, but in the same way, they're promoting you and beard brand. So
Well, it was over a topic I didn't really care about either. So I was not personally. It was about wearing shoes in the house. So.
I think I had a comment. So let's not go there.
I'm going to get ratioed on my own show. I think the one other interesting thing I wanted to talk to you about is something that I also deal with. And you guys have had some copycats, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of just the nature of the beast and like things happen, but there's a way to be inspired by products and be tasteful about how you work. Like I'm sure you know that you weren't the first company to make a beard brand or a beard oil or growth, whatever your staple product was, right? But you made it different. You did it your own way. You didn't copy and paste their images and take their wording that they pay, like all these creative assets that they paid for someone else to produce, right? And so I think that there's a difference between like being inspired by someone and building something because you were inspired by their process and their journey, opposed to just like thinking I can do that, I'm going to steal what they've done. And we've had both, right? So I think it's a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, like, you're never going to be in first place, kind of like chasing the person in front of you. So I think it is what it is, right? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel either, right? Where MailChimp was here, Attentive was there when we launched, SMS Bump was there when we launched. Now there's a slew of solutions, and it's not like we think, oh, you built an SMS product, PostScript, how dare you launch months after us and grow to be bigger than us, right? It's not like we're upset with that. We think, yeah, good for you guys. You did a great job. But when there's people who like copy and paste your copy that your team wrote and bid against your keywords on Google and literally are just copying your moves, then I think that's a little bit different, like a disrespect.
Yeah.
And just scummy, right?
Well,
like, I'm cheering for PostScript. I'm not cheering for anybody that's copy and pasting my work.
It's lazy. It's lazy marketing. And like you said, they're never going to be innovative.
Right. At the end of the day, it's intellectual property theft too. So
the thing that I think is the most challenging is just like you as the entrepreneur being able to say, this guy's a loser. I don't have to worry about him. They'll move on to the next shiny thing in 3 months or 6 months or a year or whatever.
Yep.
And just stay my course. Like, don't get wrapped up into it. Because me personally, Beard Brand's my first business. And we had a lot of people who were inspired by the things we were doing. And it consumed a lot of my mental resources.
Right. They don't deserve your energy. You can use it for something better, like getting further and further ahead.
So it's like by the time you've seen it like 50 times, you're just kind of like, okay, yeah.
Right, for sure. This happened in my last business too. And so I'm kind of like, I would say I'm sort of accustomed to being early. I built an influencer marketing platform in 2013. That was like one of the first ones. And we were very early to that whole kind of gold rush. And then it was like, even my own close friends were like leaving working for our company to go copy our company. So I'm kind of used to it, which is unfortunate. It happens when you're early and things blow up, right? I'm sure Attentive feels the same way about every company since they were first, or first to this in this way. Then there's also companies that have focused on text messaging for real estate marketing and salon booking and dental booking that have been here since 2010.
Yeah.
And it's not like, they're not looking at all these companies like, screw you guys because you came in and built 10x the size of our businesses in the same channel. If anything, it's like a market pull. Everybody can win, but I think how you move within the ecosystem kind of matters, especially if you want to like have friends or potential new future hires, right? Like I would hire someone from PostScript, or hopefully maybe they'd want to hire someone from our team in the future because of how we did business with them in the same competitive landscape. But if anybody from one of our copycat products try to do that, I would like absolutely just say, no, your integrity and your ethics are shit. I'm not going to work with you.
Yeah. I think, I have the mentality of you can grow the pie, it's not a fixed pie. So there's opportunity to, through like execution of your company and their execution through their company and being able to resonate with their audience and the intended purpose, like you guys can both eat in the marketplace. And then like there are the companies out there that want to take over the world, the Amazons of the world. And then there are companies that are okay with being sustainable and profitable at a 7-figure size or even like a upper 5-figure size. So there's a lot of different ways to build a business, and having a positive intent mindset is more beneficial for you than it is like the niceness that you give to them.
For sure. Yeah, I try not to give very little energy. Every now and then I'll go on a Twitter rant about how it pisses me off. But, it's just exhausting a little bit, deflating.
We're all human.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all human. All right, man, where can people follow you? Where can they learn more? Or where can they spend all their money with you?
Yeah, LiveRecover.com is the business website. If you want to sign up, we have a $500 free trial, and you don't need a credit card to start recovering sales over text. And then just at Dennis Hegstad on Twitter if you want to talk about SMS or listen to me vent about life.
Or learn about
infrared saunas, yeah, or Teslas. Talk about random stuff.
All right, man. Thanks for coming by the studio. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot about SMS that I did not know. I will be back again on another week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Cheers.
Beard brand. See ya.
Keep on growing.